did you watch do you watch Trixie's Fresh Coverage Friday or Full Coverage Fridays?
No. What is that?
So basically every Friday Trixie goes live on YouTube and does like maybe like 20-minute set of songs. And so last week she did this cover of Lil Mama's lip gloss and it was hilarious.
Okay, I have to go look that up.
She used like a looper to get the beat going.
Oh, perfect.
my gosh.
I love instruments and toys.
Yeah, it's hilarious to see Trixie singing Lil Mama.
Look, that was the jam at one point.
Yeah, like that was like college for sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you know about me?
What you know about me? My lip gloss be cool. My lip gloss be flopping.
Not flopping.
My lip gloss be flopping all over the place, girl.
Oh shit. You might want to try a new shade.
Hi.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, girl.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, grrr. Hello, America. My name is Seth. Thanks for coming. What's your name, girl?
Hi, it's Jamal. I know you just talked to me, but I'm in your ear hole again.
Ooh, my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, it's Stony. I'm not in your ear hole.
Damn it. They give you two for a reason, girl. Anyways, this is our second recording session of the day, so we're like just feeling a little bit crazy.
I've had 5 whole Trulies after not having drank for a week, and oh my gosh, I take back every negative thing I've said about hard seltzer water.
That shit's hitting right, isn't it, girl?
I feel good.
Is your lip gloss popping? That's the real question.
It's definitely poppin', not floppin'.
Oh, good. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys. Well, we're back this week. Of course, we got a couple different television programs to talk to you about. First up, we'll talk to you about Drag Race Celebrity. And then after the break, we will talk to you about the HBO program, We're Here.
Yeah, so exciting. Welcome back.
Yes, bitch. We're here. We're queer. Get used to it.
Deal, bitch.
All right. Well, this has been a weird start, so let's just get into the first program, which we will be talking about Celebrity Drag Race. Of course, this is RuPaul's psychotic show that is in between season 12 and Untucked. The whole premise of this show, if you haven't been watching it, is that we have 3 quote-unquote celebrities, and they come into the competition to play for money for a charity of their choice.
Yes. Love the charity aspect of this. Again, we might be using the term celebrity very loosely, but I have a difference in opinion this episode.
Yeah, like this season or this episode, there was a twist. There was actually celebrities.
Oh, you
There
wanted
were
a twist?
Yes, they were actually celebs. Wig snatch.
Yes. So this episode, the celebrities are Tammy Roman, Lonnie Love, and Vanessa motherfucking Williams.
Fucking bingo. I know all of these people.
I have to say that I'm not familiar with Tammy, but that's because I don't watch like the reality trashy programs that you guys watch.
Shit. No, it is trash TV. Tammy Roman, I know her. I'm aging myself, but that's fine because I don't look it. Tammy Roman, the first season of Real World, New York, 93. And, of course, Basketball Wives. Mom loves that show.
Work. I'd heard of Lonnie Love before. I have to say I wasn't familiar with her, but I at least heard her name. And then, of course, Vanessa Williams. Everybody should know who Vanessa Williams is.
Yes, Queen. Colors of the Wind, Miss USA, the first Black Miss America. Excuse me, they are different. Miss America. And legendary actress, of course.
Yeah, I definitely was. I knew her more as a singer than model, I guess, or a model competition person.
Well, yeah, it was definitely like a huge pageant, right? And then she made a huge splash on Ugly Betty. I don't know the character's name because I'm not like a Ugly Betty super fan. I have seen the first season, but her character was pretty epic from what I hear and what I've seen on the show. And Lonnie Love, of course, watching Chelsea Handler back when I used to watch the Kardashians, but she's moved on past Chelsea, and she does The Real, I believe. That's what the show is called.
Oh, the realness.
Does The Real? I don't know.
Yeah,
if
it's
still
kind of
on.
like the View, basically. Like that's what it is. It's like a round table of women.
Okay.
See, I knew Tamar Braxton was fired from the show. I didn't know if the show was canceled, so maybe she still has that job. I love Tamar. Justice for Tamar.
Yes. So I just have to say, like, how overwhelming would it be for you to like have never been in drag and all of a sudden you're doing a rusical?
Listen, bitch. I don't know about y'all, but I've watched Beyonce's Homecoming approximately 614 times, so I would be ready for this.
I don't know, girl.
I would not be ready.
I'm not ready.
I didn't dance or anything growing up. I guess I'm naturally gifted, but again, actual choreography is a different thing. But no, in all seriousness, I would be shitting my pants secretly.
Definitely. So the drag mentors this episode are Asia O'Hara, who is mentoring Vanessa Williams, Trinity the Tuck, who is mentoring Lonnie Love, and Alyssa Edwards, who is mentoring Tammy Roman.
What a lineup. I mean, all the Rue girls we love, but what perfect queens. They're all pageant queens. Did anybody catch that? They are all pageant girls.
Yes.
So I just had a feeling this episode was going to be a bit more turned up.
Yeah, and I love that Alyssa's back because we can never get enough of Alyssa. And then Trinity and her plastic self was here, of course.
I know. All three of these queens they're always a joy to see, whether it's just a photo or, an interview on YouTube. Just love watching them, love watching what they're wearing. I live.
Definitely. But like we were saying, the whole point of this episode was to do the 5 to 9. It's the opposite. And they're
club hours.
Yeah. And they're doing their tribute to Dolly Parton, who was nice enough to send in a video clip for this episode.
Hey, Auntie Dolly, we see you. Thanks for coming.
And so Dolly Parton was there. And during the musical, the mentors were all involved. It was a pretty cute one. The only thing that was really confusing to me was like the Lonnie Love section.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a moment that was missed with the reveal and she made up for it. I mean, if it was made up and improv on the spot, the reveal itself went over just right. I think it was just a timing thing. It felt out of place.
Well, I was just more confused because I know a few Dolly Parton songs, but I didn't know that there was Missy Elliott Parton at the end there, singing "Stop, Flip It, and Reverse It." I didn't realize that was done by Dolly Parton or something.
It must have been the remix.
That was something, girl. I was I was feeling my Missy Elliott fantasy, but I was like, what does this have to do with Dolly Parton and this musical?
Well, they had to mix it up because it's Drag Race, so you just never know what these hoes are gonna do or throw at us. But it was fun nonetheless.
Yes, it was a fun musical.
Yeah, it was pretty fun still. This episode, it felt kind of long to me. I don't know. Did you guys feel that way? At a certain point, you were like, all right, I'm ready for this to get over with.
Full disclosure, I went into this just not expecting to enjoy it, but I wasn't. I was just like, okay, it's cute. Good job, RuPaul. We're doing stuff for charity, but I didn't need this. But this week was different, and I think it's because I know all of the ladies and their platforms and what they've done, and I'm very familiar with all of them and their different avenues of Hollywood, if you will. So I was just more engaged and more into what the people were saying, what they were doing. And yeah, it just felt like a better experience this week for me.
Yeah, I did like it better this week, but I do think I really wish they would like show more of like the three celebrities like picking out their outfits and like working with like we found out that like Chanel was there last week and that wasn't shown. Like,
oh yeah,
I wish they would like show more stuff of that, because it would be interesting. Like, how did they come up with the look? Like, who suggested what? Like, did they get to pick the look, or how did that work?
Yeah, that would be cool to see, especially because they'll do these, the quick shots in the chairs, of course, where they reveal their makeup. We got a baking lesson this week. Was Asia doing that, or was it Chanel?
Yeah. One thing I did like, though, is that they did an homage, or like not an homage. They were just paying tribute to the drag kings of the world, and I thought that was really interesting. That was the sort of like their first little challenge, and I also loved Vanessa Williams just ripping the tracks out of her hair to give the full illusion.
Listen, y'all keep hearing me talk about Tracy Flick. It might be because I've watched the movie a couple times. Election since quarantine has begun. It's going to be week 9 if you're listening to this, that I've been working from home. She was in it to win it. Okay, like weave out, claws, nails off, earrings out. Let's do it.
It was great. Actually, all 3 of the women on the show were really like proactive, like really like wanting to win. So I thought that made it really interesting. Like you could just see there was more of a competition.
That's right. Tammy snatched her whole ass wig off. That's commitment right there, especially for a black lady.
I was really surprised when she did that. I was like, oh my God, she just took her whole wig off.
Listen, we carry ourselves a certain way, and we're very proud about our hair, black people. So she's like, look, I'm here to play. All of that can wait, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I did like that a lot. What else? I thought it was interesting, though, because, that's one of the things that people criticize RuPaul for, is for not having drag kings or other types of drag on the show. So in the celebrity version, they had drag kings. So that's kind of like a fun little step towards the right direction.
Yes, we love to see it.
Yeah, maybe it's like little baby steps, maybe one season we'll have like kings versus queens.
Ooh, spinoff. You heard it here first
Battle
on
of the
TFC Pod.
Seasons, the gauntlet.
RuPaul, give us an official recap contract. We're making all these predictions, and they're coming true.
Yes, girl. Stop stealing our ideas. It's kind of crunchy and not a good look.
Yeah, we know you're listening, producers.
Batch. This was a really fun episode. I did enjoy it a lot more. I guess we should also mention their drag names. I liked Miss Vanessa Williams as Vanquisha de House.
Oh yes, I appreciate that as a witchy queen.
Oh yeah, that's pure evil right there.
Yeah. She's casting spells with her arms, girl. Yeah, and I also my other favorite one was Miss Shanita Cocktail.
Oh, appropriate.
It's all about the pronunciation.
That's right. It's the timing. It's versatile. This is something I could like see anybody on stage running with this name, and just it's hilarious every time you hear it.
Yeah, and when she was telling Alyssa, and Alyssa's reaction was just like golden.
Yeah. And then of course Miss Lonnie Love, she went and paid tribute to 2 of her musical idols, Mary J. Blige and Diana Ross, and she became Mary J. Ross.
I love that. What a cute collab. It's like Naomi Smalls, but not.
It's like she sewed the first American flag or something.
Sure.
She's like, yes, sis, Betsy Ross, come through. But yeah, I don't know. So it was really good. It was entertaining. So in the end, of course, I was rooting for Vanessa Williams, and I wasn't sure if she would win. It was actually pretty close. Like with all the women on the show, they all did really good jobs.
Yes.
But in the end, Vanessa Williams did win, and she won $30,000 for the Trevor Project.
Perfect. We love that. I was also rooting for Vanessa. Also Tammy. I was rooting for all the ladies. 3 chocolate women, very accomplished women on RuPaul's stage. I was getting my whole life, and they're all very different styles of drag queens as well. So I thought it was definitely between Tammy and Vanessa, but I was happy to see Vanessa win, especially for the Trevor project.
Yeah, and I thought it was also cool too that even the 2 other contestants, they donate like $10,000 to their charity too, which is really awesome.
Definitely, yeah. The other 2 charities that got $10,000 were St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Dress for Success, which is a great organization that helps women to get back on their feet if they're homeless or maybe low income or whatever really their need is.
Yeah, it's a really great organization. I know people personally who have volunteered with this organization. They help ladies get prepared for the workforce. If they're homeless, if they're in battered scenarios and they just start getting started on their own, they give them a wardrobe and hairstyling and stuff for their interviews and their jobs.
Definitely. So I'm glad that those 2 also got some money. And
Yes.
I feel like we're really on an upswing with this little series here. So I'm excited to see who is the celebrities next week.
Yes, that is real. That is the real mystery of Secret Celebrity RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, will they actually be celebrities? We don't know.
It's kind of hit or miss, girl. But you know what? Really, I think the message that we can take away from this episode of Celebrity Drag Race is Miss, she need a cocktail.
Yes.
Yeah,
I need
where's
another
mine?
one. I don't know. I just really like that because it's sort of like a whole visual in one drag name.
And just think about it. You can come out in all kinds of looks with all kinds of drinks because she doesn't specify what kind of cocktail.
No.
Yeah, I
She
hope
don't.
Heidi's taking notes because maybe she needs to change her name.
She could be real bougie and walk out there with like a extra dry, dirty martini, or be real bangy and walk out there with a Colt 45.
Yeah. Who knows? Versatility, girl. I thought it was interesting that they also were lip syncing to disco songs in this week's episode. It was kind of like watching the same episode again because there was like the female super fans on the show. Actually, since recording that one, I went and did some research, and the girl Shay that was paired with Gigi, I guess, is a queer woman that I don't know if she just came out or she's just like publicly stating it, but I thought that was really interesting.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
we definitely missed that detail, but that's good.
Yeah.
Nice job, Celebrity Drag Race. Good episode number 2. Next week is technically the halfway mark, so
Yeah.
maybe they're going to up their game for us.
Yeah. Next week, I think the mentors are Bob the Drag Queen again and Kim Chi and Nina West.
Ooh.
Nice. That'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to that one. I'm really like on a Bob kick, so like I'm really into this.
Yes, Queen. We love you, Bob.
So yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk to you about the HBO series We're Here, episode 2. Stunning.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming. We wanted to take a moment to check in on you, listener, to make sure you're taking care of yourselves during these corona-not-so-tastic times.
These are crazy and unique times, so it's extra important to mind your self-care and to not get wrapped up in things you simply cannot control. Coronavirus should be taken seriously, and the guidelines that the people of the world have to follow are simple.
Practice social distancing, disinfect surfaces regularly, wear a mask and disposable gloves if possible, stay home, work remotely if you can, and only leave the house for essential errands.
And wash your damn hands, people.
Remember to log off if you need a break from news or coverage during the pandemic. Give yourself social media breaks to detox and recharge. Find some fun at home and have a virtual kiki with family and friends to keep your spirits up. Get lost in some new music discoveries as well. Or better yet, listen to our podcast.
If you're a new listener of the show, first of all, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Remember to leave us a review and rate us 5 Hallelujah stars wherever you listen to our show.
That's right, Hallelujah Stars. Thank you in advance. You can find us on social media at TFC Pod or visit us on our website, thanksforcomingpodcast.com. If you're feeling lonely and don't have anyone to shade with, feel free to drop us a line at tfcpod@gmail.com.
Oh, and one other thing. You're not my real dad, and you never will be.
Anyways, back to the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are going to continue with our discussion about We're Here, the HBO series that is just being raved and ravished, and it's totally sickening.
Yes, we love this show, and this week only increased that feeling.
Ugh, the show is just so good. I feel like when I watch it, I'm like watching like the Power Rangers or something, like because they're just like going off like in these vehicles. I'm like, yes, transform.
Yes.
Just wait till they all like come together to form one giant cyborg that's RuPaul.
Oh shit, that's the gag of the season right there.
Right?
RuPaul pops up on the last episode like, ladies.
RuPaul is like Zordon.
Oh no.
Go, gay Power Rangers. Oh, man. But yeah, this was a good one. This week we are in Idaho Falls.
Twin Falls, Idaho.
That was close.
We'll round up.
Yeah. It's still get points for the Fantasy League, right?
Yes, of course.
I'm so confused.
Stoney's like, wait, that's not on the fucking rubric, bitch.
Yeah, I'm just making up categories. But yeah, I guess I didn't realize that Idaho Falls. I don't really know a lot about Idaho, I guess, but I feel like it's probably a small town somewhere in Idaho.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a small town somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming anything outside of Boise is probably small.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. It did not come out.
Yeah. But it was a really good episode this week. I guess who should we talk about first? Bob, Eureka.
So this was a mixed bag this week, right? Because on the first episode, each of the queens got one individual person. And this week, we see Bob the drag queen with a group of local queens, a few of the local queens. And then we see Shangela with a couple, Brandon and Michaela. And then we've got Clifton, straight, that was paired with Eureka.
Definitely. And all stories were pretty interesting this week. I guess we can maybe start with Eureka. She had Clifton, and like Jamal said, Clifton is a heterosexual identifying male who growing up was like basically taught that like gays are bad, like it's like sins or whatever, like, you know, the typical things. And I thought it was really interesting that he was open to doing this transformation.
I connected with this a little bit because this is something we have to talk about, because it's very easy as a part of the queer community to look at people like Clifton and say, oh, well, you know, you just want to be on TV, or why are you doing it this way? Why can't you just go out and support your local drag queen? But I think people putting themselves out there and making these statements and still living there, that's a big deal, because that still breeds an opportunity for them to start the snowball of change in their town. And this is exactly what that show promotes. So I was appreciative of Clifton being honest and was like, hey, it's not cool, so I'm going to put myself out there and just do it.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, like growing up like in a smaller area and stuff, like obviously like a lot of like redneck straight people are like all like they're just not used to being around gay people or gay culture in any way. So like it would be easy for somebody like him to not even care and just move on. So it takes like a lot of like cojones to like be like, okay, I'm gonna like go do drag on HBO, like around like all these rednecks, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, and I also like that this also relates kind of to the first episode and Bob's person, because it's all part of the acceptance and inclusion kind of approach. It's like, hey, let me walk a mile in their shoes because I see that's hard for them, or I know it's hard for me to be a black guy, so let me try to be a drag queen. So a cis white male doing this is like huge, because those are the voices that, you know, traditionally our country pay attention to. So big deal.
Right. And then throughout like his storyline, you just see him hang out with all of his like redneck buddies and his girlfriend. And
oh my gosh,
like,
that awkward garage party.
Yeah. They're all like, "What are you doing here, Queer?"
I'd be too fabulous for that party. We might be skipping ahead. I'd like have to do Miranda Priestley and probably leave after half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminded me a little bit of friend of the show Nick going to like some of his parties. Like Nick is always accepting, but like
Very open.
being like in Southern Indiana, like just, you know, like his high school friends or friends that he's had since he was a kid, like a lot of them are like looking at Jamal and I like why are you guys here?
We're the only gay guys. I'm usually the only black person anywhere in sight in Southern Indiana, unless you get to Evansville.
Yeah, so it's just like, and there would be people at the party that were like not accepting of gays, and like you would know it. So it just, that reminded me of that for some reason.
Yeah, very real scenarios. Whenever you see me turning up my glitter and sparkle, it's because I know there's someone who isn't accepting, around.
Yes. But it was really interesting though, because by the end of it, Clifton was like, shaved his beard for the drag show, and would, you know, corseted, cinched for the gods.
Yes, tuck reveal and all.
Yeah, him and Eureka basically came out as like Guar.
Yes.
And they had huge like shoulder pads on. They were doing some drag to Joan Jett, like full rocker drag, and and at the end of it, like, you know, Clifton was always kind of like standoffish and like, you know, trying to be macho, but at the end of it, you just see Clifton in drag, just like sitting on Eureka's lap and like just feeling the full fantasy. Like, he raised his voice to be more feminine sounding. You know, it was like, it was kind of cute.
No, it's a good transformation to see, because really all of this, what does RuPaul say? You're born naked and the rest is drag. So it's like, it's just a wig, it's just makeup. I'm just a person having fun. And I'm glad that that got to resonate with Clifton.
And I'm also glad that Eureka is making a name as the redneck correspondent on this show.
Yes.
They're like,
She's
like
like,
the white trash one. All right, Eureka,
Shout
get
out.
over here.
Shout out to East Tennessee.
She's like, I majored in redneck studies, so I will be mentoring all the rednecks on how to do drag.
Dr. Eureka Honey.
Yes. But yeah, that was a cute story. I guess moving on, we can talk about Bob's gaggle of ladies.
I love that. Gaggle of ladies.
Yes.
T-shirt.
So Bob is like mentoring these 3 local drag queens. There actually was somewhat of a local drag scene in Idaho Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I was living for the one bitch singing Ave Maria in drag. Like, yes.
She was serving, okay? She's like, I'll show you culture, Twin Falls.
Right? I don't remember all of their queens' names, but the one that I really remembered is called Lucid Dreams.
Lucid Dream. She was our air queen, right, in the final performance?
Yes. Ooh. Yes. Lucid Dreams was interesting. Like, lives with his grandpa. Very elderly grandpa, and like takes care of him. And the grandpa's very supportive of Lucid, and that was cute to see.
Yeah, and also what a dynamic in the relationship, because usually it's the grandparents or great parents or great aunties and uncles that queer people have to worry about not accepting them because, oh, they're from a different time. They just don't understand. They're old, you know, that excuse. And it's nice to see that Lucid's grandpa supports them and is there for them, just like Lucid's there for their grandpa. And it's just very heartwarming to see. Even listening to the clips of the story as the show played out, you're looking at some of these small towns, wherever you are. If you're looking at any small town on a TV show or movie, documentary, whatever, and you're just kind of like, why haven't they left, or why don't they just get the fuck out? But some people are there for family to support. We learned Lucid moved away a couple times and moved back to help their grandpa, and then other people are just connected to their town and feel like they don't have to leave, and I respect that just the same.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good story, and I thought the grandpa was really sweet. Like he like really cared a lot, like you could tell, and he was just kind of like, I don't care what he does. So
I got a very strong feeling of like thankfulness. I don't know, we didn't hear too much more about Lucid's other family, but I kind of get the feeling that Lucid's the only one that's there for him. So there's just a very heavy feeling of thankfulness as well.
Definitely. The other queens were pretty awesome too. I don't know, they were all, I think kind of their whole story was about them, and it's kind of weird to me is that they just don't hang out together. There's no, like, even though there is a drag scene, like, they're not friends really. They don't like go and kiki like and hang out.
I'm like failing at remembering names right now. I know that there was Lavender. Was it Beauchamp?
I think so. Yeah, that sounds right.
She was our water queen, and then our fierce fire queen. Forgive me, queen. I'm gonna post you on our Instagram, but she was my favorite of the group, just because, like Seth was saying, they don't really get together. They probably don't feel like there's that sense of community, or that they're not getting together for anything. But no matter how big the number, and I think they learned this by the end of the show, your community is still a community, and I could just feel the level of reserve from her, and just like not being sure if this was all real life, and then just completely serving. And even the fire and her like high what is the screamo like rock like lip sync, like you can feel the passion watching her in that scene, and that passion came out right under that fierce fiery bob at the end as well.
Yeah, I am glad that they like shed light on the local queens and stuff, because that's so important too, is like the local like drag community. Like I don't know how many, times when we were in Bloomington, like I would go to so many drag shows, and like here in Indy too, some of the local drag shows, and it's just like really important to support those queens as well.
That's right. Shout out to Mad Myrna's in Alaska. Support your local drag wherever you are.
Definitely. Yeah, I also, like you were saying, I like when at the end of the show when Lavender was like, and give it up for our other local queens. They had some of the other queens like in the front row there in full drag, and so, I mean, they didn't really give them enough time to like be on the screen, but it looked like they were more of like the alternative drag family, and I loved it. I was like, one of them kind of looked like a mop or something. It was kind of hard to tell, but I don't know. I wanted to see more, so go.
It's very
support.
That's right. Go support. Go check out their Instagrams. Of course, we'll share what we can on our social media. But that's very Pacific Northwest drag. Very alternative. Very out there, but still captivating.
Definitely. So that was sort of the transformation of Bob's team. And then lastly, but not least, we have Shangela helming this couple, Michaela and Brandon. And Brandon is a trans man. And I don't remember if both of them or just one came from like Mormon Latter-day Saints.
Both did.
Both were? Okay.
Yeah, they went to high school together, and at the time they were both women. And, of course, the Latter-day Saints dating two women dating was just a big no-no, as Brandon and Michaela stated. And, so what a journey, right? And they're still there.
Definitely. I mean, it was just really, I like this story the most, I think, because like at the beginning, Brandon, he just seems like really kind of like shy or not confident, I guess you could say. And even through the rehearsals, but like that in their last performance, their whole performance was made around the fact that not a lot of people or very few people came to their wedding, and they wanted to have like this big traditional like showy wedding, and they didn't get to have it, so that's what their performance was going to be. And Shangela walked Michaela down the aisle.
Yeah, how epic. I love this story. I love all the stories on this episode. I just connected with all of them in a way, but this one was so powerful. the performance and the story. Shout out to Brandon. We were exchanging comments on Twitter. I hope you're listening to this now because it was just so amazing to watch, and I could not imagine going through what the both of you did in that experience, let alone your transition and having your blood treat you that way. I've always said I've been lucky in my coming out experience, and I haven't had to deal with really any of these real life scenarios that we're kind of seeing highlighted on Drag Race, and we're here. So major props to both of you, and thanks for sharing that story, because that wedding was all the shade I needed. Look at what you could have been part of, family. Look at all these people I don't know screaming and cheering for me and getting their life. And this is what your book, your good book, whatever you read, does not mention. This is the part you're not interpreting correctly. This is what love means. This is what it's all love means.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing I really like, I loved Brandon's story, but what really bothered me was the way that his family treated him.
Yes.
And like, I don't know, for a gay person anyway, like I think it was
His sister.
Yeah, his sister used the word choices, the choices that you've made, like I'm not happy with. Like, that word choices has always bothered me as a gay person, because like people used to use that against like gay people, saying, oh, you chose to be gay and that type of thing. So when Brandon's sister said that to him, I was just like so annoyed, because I'm like, how dare you like sit there and like judge him?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon's family was like accepting to the point where they just wanted him to have a good life, and to be happy and that sort of things. Like, but definitely not supportive of like the trans journey, I would assume. And I don't know. It's just, I mean, it was crazy. But like, even at the wedding, like they did a lot of shots too. I think it was his sister, and she was like crying and really emotional in the audience. And I was like, maybe this is, and I really hope, I don't know, maybe Brandon can let us know if he's listening. Like, hopefully this was a good start to having his family come around at least a little bit more.
That's right, because longtime listeners of the show know how we feel about these kinds of issues, and I was going to point out the audience as well. I love how this show highlights the audience almost more than they do the performances, because we're really shedding a light on, you know, seeing potential change in these people's faces and how they're reacting to the show, and realizing that we're just here to have a good time. It's just not in a bar line dancing or looking at hot chicks all night and calling each other bro. Like, this is our version of fun, and we're normal people as well. And that whole choice thing bothers me as well. This is like very crude, listeners, but remember, I did not grow up in the church. My dad did. He became a deacon after I did, and after I left for college, in 2005, he started all of that. So I had to tell him straight up, you can pray for me, you can do whatever for me every night, every day, every hour with your congregation, and my dick is not going to get hard for a woman. Sorry, I was born this way. It's not a fucking choice.
Yeah, I mean,
we're more than just sexual organs as well. Like, why can't we just be with the people we like? Not all gay people or queer people have sex. There's also that. Like, there are levels.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I just thought the performance at the end of the drag show was beautiful. Michaela got to play violin, so that's like, you know, she kind of got to bring in like the beginning of their relationship into the performance, and then Brandon, just the reveal into like the suit with the trans pride colors was just so powerful.
Yes.
The what's the thing called that you get married under?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Is it atrium?
The flowery thing.
Or
I don't know.
The oversized partial wreath.
The pretty
that
thing
stands
over
up.
you.
Yeah.
Altar.
The basically the makeshift altar. It had like trans. It had cloth in the color of trans pride, and it was just very much like, I don't know. I mean, I cried for sure. It was just it was very powerful, and I hope that Brandon and Michaela know that they probably made more change than they even realize in this world. They affected a lot of people for sure. I mean, I don't know. It was just very beautiful, and I hope that they got the experience that they were wanting.
This is the TV that we need. This is the kind of Drag Race is really fun. I think Drag Race is really important, of course, but getting deeper into these queer stories on a platform like HBO, I think it's so important to spread that message and spread that education. So, you know, good job.
We've talked about this on other podcasts before, but, you know, when you're a young queer kid or whatever, you don't really have a lot of, or you used to not have like access to really anything because the internet wasn't around, but like, you know, there wasn't many shows featuring gay people or trans people. So like the amount of content that's out there now is so much more. Mm-hmm. And so like there's probably like a little trans kid somewhere watching this on HBO and is being inspired. So it's awesome.
Definitely. It was very, very brave of everybody really in the show. Everyone was really brave in their own way. And that's what I really enjoy about We're Here. It's like I always watch this show and I'm like, man, I'm so just like fucking happy to be gay. Like, because it's just such a celebration of like, you know, beautiful love. It's all about love. And, you know, you don't always see it, of course, you know, if you're on Twitter, but people can be real hateful, but yeah, I mean, there's like the people, like you'll find your people in this world, like with us three, and you know, there's lots of other people and gay, queer, all sorts of people of sexualities and genders out there like us that will you know, just be happy to give love and help as much as you can, even if it's just to sit down and have a conversation, you know. That's right. Your tribe is here. So we hope you guys are liking the show. We are obviously loving it. I feel like we had a better week this week with the Celebrity Drag Race, and then of course with We're Here. This was, I think I like this one better than the first. I don't know. I'm not gonna quantify. They're all great, but yeah. So we'll be back, of course, next week with another episode of Celebrity Drag Race, and We're Here. So make sure you subscribe because, you know, we'll be continuing on with our queer media. That's right. Please tell your friends about us. Listen and rate us wherever you listen to your podcast. Thanks for coming. Podcast.com has lots of fun tidbits for you as well. And find us on socials like Brandon did at TFC Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, and make sure to support your local drag queens whenever we're out of quarantine, or while you're in quarantine, because if your scenes like, you know, my Seattle queens that I like, they're all doing Insta Live drag shows that you can send them money, so just support them now. That's right, the queens are still working. Go check it out. Yeah, so we'll be back on Tuesday with another episode of Season 12 content for you. And an untucked talk if it's interesting, and and until then, bye. If it's interesting.